Hey everyone, if you want to make your own podcast but you don't know where to begin, Spotify for Podcasters makes it super easy. They've got everything in one place, it's totally free, and you can make money while doing it. Here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start doing it today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and pretty much everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also supported, and you can even conduct polls and Q&As. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, the platform is totally free. No catch, totally free. When I wanted to start my own podcast, I did not know where to begin, and I didn't think it was even possible. And Spotify for Podcasters made it happen. They made it easy, they made it quick, and I am doing something that I love. What more can I ask for? So if you're interested in starting your own show, you can do it, and I highly recommend you give this a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Everything Kratom, the podcast about anything and everything Kratom. Great to have you with us on this Wednesday morning. Hoping all's well with you out there today, as always. Of course, I have another cold. Of course. I never used to get colds. I don't know why I'm getting them these days. And of course, they're happening like all the time now that I actually have a podcast where I'd rather not sound nasally. But what are you going to do? So today I wanted to talk a little bit about a thought that I had about going to jail for kratom. It was spurred by a recent thing that happened where someone was driving, they had a busted taillight. You might have seen it if you follow stuff on social media. And this person had a few other things going on, misdemeanors, and, I don't know many of the details. I'm really not making any statements here whatsoever. It really is jarring to think about. This guy had kratom in his car, and it was enough in the state where he was to be considered someone who is, they have the intent to sell this drug, which is Schedule 1 in that state. However, he's from a different state where it isn't. So it just he's been sent to prison, it's crazy. And how jarring it was to think about that. And I have thought about this before, the idea that kratom is not legal in some places in the US, and that if I was caught with kratom in those places, I would be arrested. But to actually think through it, I didn't really let myself think through that because it just sounded so absurd to me that I didn't let myself think through it. And that's kind of irresponsible of me, to be honest. I feel kind of I don't know. I feel like I just let this one go over my head, and I really could have done better. I am really jarred by this idea. So I just thought I would share that reflection today with you all, because even though it seems ridiculous to go, to be arrested just for having kratom, and for people who use kratom, I feel like it probably becomes such an easy, normal part of one's life. And I'm saying this for the people who use it semi-regularly, but, they don't have any issues with it or feel like they need to stop using it. Because I do know that other people feel that way or are having those experiences. But for, the vast majority of people that don't seem to be having any issue with using kratom, I think that it's fair to say that it's hard to imagine going to jail, being arrested, going to prison for any extended period of time for kratom, just for simply possessing it, right? And I think that the reason why I have trouble thinking about it, or had trouble thinking about it, is because, I don't even know if police around the area where I am would even recognize it. Maybe they would. Maybe they totally would. But I don't know. It seems like one of those things that's just kind of they would have to look it up, And if they'd have to look it up, why would they be arresting anyone for it? But seeing this happen, and I've seen it happen a few times before, seeing it happen is really nuts. And it made me actually, the other day, I made myself have this thought. I made myself go through the thought, what would actually happen? Like, what would it actually feel like to be arrested for just simply possessing kratom? And, my thoughts are thinking now towards the people in Louisiana, because there are these different parishes popping up all over the place trying to ban it, and a few that have, or at least one that has, another that's trying. And what that would be like to go from one county to another, or one parish to another, and have it go from legal to illegal. And like just having a few grams of kratom in your car, for instance, or in your pocket in one parish, you walk across the line and all of a sudden it's like you've got a Schedule 1 drug, right? It's just pretty wild to think about. And at the same time, this isn't new, right? That's the other thing I'm thinking. Marijuana, cannabis, right? I think public opinion in the US has changed so much to the point where I'm comfortable in saying most people, and I know this is true because there's plenty of polls and studies that show this. We have officially flipped so that now more than 50% of people in the US think cannabis is fine, or at least that it shouldn't be illegal. I guess those are two different things, but at least that cannabis shouldn't be illegal. And to think of all the people who have gone to prison over the years for that, and now to see that most of the country doesn't really have much of a problem with it being around, or at least just having it be legal or not illegal, is such a crazy thought. It almost makes me feel like, what's the point? Like that I would hate to be in prison and to find out that like my state legalized marijuana and it was like 2 years after I was arrested, or like even worse, if I've been arrested for like 20 years. My God, I can't even imagine, but I'm trying to. And so like crossing that parallel path, let's say, back over to kratom, I would feel that way, I think. It'd just be like, what is the point? It's such an empty arrest that holds so much value, because it's empty because it's like, this is not an issue with, like, this is not where we got to focus right now, right? And at the very least, and then I would personally go much further than that, but I'm trying to be a bit amicable here and more neutral, but it's kind of hard to be, but that'd be the least I would say. And at the same time, it wouldn't be empty at all, because it would be so substantive in the worst way, because that emptiness is like, it's an empty arrest filled with years of imprisonment or months or whatever it is. And how terrible is that? I mean, if I'm going to go to prison, I better have robbed a bank or something. At least I would know I deserve it. But I mean, goodness. Anyway, I think wrapping it all up here, I think it's important to think about it and to think through it, because up until now, I haven't. I have not thought about actual ramifications for using this thing that I think is fine to use, and I just happen to be in a place where it's okay, but next door it's not. And I should be thinking through what would happen if I were to be like arrested with it in some place. I mean, I'm never going to be in that position because I won't bring it somewhere where it's illegal. But I would hate. It's just so close, It's so close. And how is it that I've just been thinking about that possibility as something on an alien world, when really it's just a few miles away? So that is kind of my thought process right now, and I feel kind of irresponsible for not thinking through it myself, but I did want to think through it a little bit out loud, as this is an important thing, and it's one aspect of the fact that some states have it legal, some states have it illegal, and some local areas have it illegal, and some local areas have it legal. And what does that do? What does that do? So let's just keep chugging along here and be aware of our surroundings, shall we? That's all I'm going to say for today. I've got to get back to work. It's a busy day. I will talk to you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.